How's my hair? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Happy New Year. Hold on.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
2021.
Welcome to the house.
The first episode of IoT Coffee Talk for 2021.
I said this yesterday. 2021 told 2020, here, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Yep.
5 days in, brother.
Exactly.
All right. I got a big head. This thing won't fit.
We've often said that you've got a big head, usually behind
Big
your
head,
back.
big brain,
Yeah. Oh, is that what that means?
Oh, thanks.
I guess.
Woo!
Good to see you guys.
Good seeing you all.
Likewise.
So what are
Absolutely.
we going to talk about? Stephanie.
We're gonna talk about like positive vibes. We gotta start off the new year on a positive note. Let's talk about some really good things that are happening because let's drown out the noise. Right?
Yeah.
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 Let's
Positivity.
give that a shot.
I love Rob's reaction to that.
Positivity.
Yeah.
The glass is half full, guys.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It can only get better from here.
Upside. All upside.
There is a lot of upside when you're laying flat on your back looking up.
When you hit rock bottom, there's only one way.
Exactly. When you're that little kid in West Texas at the bottom of the well, it's only go up from there. And that's where we are, folks. So we're going to make it positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, all I can say is 2020 ended with a nice application, IoT application, which has been around for a long time. They've been trying to sell it for a long time for a bunch of things that probably weren't that critical or weren't ready, which is, all that cold chain stuff, right? I mean, the pharma industry started to adopt some of these IoT related solutions. But I thought that was pretty cool. And
Cold chain. Old school.
What,
So,
Leonard, what are you trying to say is that
chains.
the problem finally happened, so the solution was available?
We were searching all these years.
right. But
You mean we didn't create something out of the blue and then try to fit it into the mold?
Yeah.
Fit it?
No.
The problem came to us first? Wow.
What?
Well, here's the
Miracle.
problem with solving the problem that's hopefully going to be temporary. Well, the problem.
Mark, Feliz Año Nuevo.
Hey.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien. ¿Cómo estás?
You guys already in 2022 there in Spain.
Yeah, here, yeah.
You just jumped right ahead.
We are still, 2020. Watching TV with fun stuff.
Yeah.
No, seriously, the cold chain stuff. I thought it was really great that it finally got legs underneath it, and I guess we'll see how the vaccinations go, the administration and distribution of the vaccines go. But
How is it going in the US, the vaccination?
Así,
How is
así.
Así?
Some states
Yeah.
are doing really well,
Hey.
and some states are not.
Mark, we're trying to keep it positive, okay?
We're gonna have a positive vibe show. Bring it.
Try.
No, but it's
In fact,
I
that's-
have a relative in a health system in the East Coast, and the experience has been everything that's happened is what they explained. They knew how many doses this health system was going to get. They knew who and in what order and what day they were going to get them, when the next dose is scheduled. So anyway, from the few people that I've heard, it's been just vaccine, give me a shot, and getting on with my life. But of course, that's not the experience everywhere for several reasons.
Well,
That's in Washington D.C., right? And next to Capitol. That was the line for the vaccination,
Mark,
right?
we are not following a line of conversation on the first episode. No gloom and doom.
That's what that was yesterday. All those people were lined up for the shot.
Yeah.
Oh!
Nancy Pelosi was administering them.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, Stephanie.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but here's the crazy thing.
You had to go to her office and sit in her chair to get it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Listen, if this is how this is going to go down, there is, and I know Vegas will pick it up really soon. What is the over or under that one of the visitors without a guest pass install malware on some machine somewhere in there?
Yeah.
I
thought we were gonna.
you know what? That's not. You're right. There's an elephant in the room, and when it's there,
I'm recording.
Get rid of
It's
it.
done.
You know what I mean? Normally, you would say, "Oh my God, what a risk!" But if you saw some of these folks, I'm not worried at all.
The brain.
You know how you always had those shows about dumb criminals?
World's dumbest criminals.
Well, we had the world's dumbest insurrection. Those guys like on camera, woo, check it out. Here's my face. I'm not wearing a mask.
Well,
Unbelievable. All right, positive vibes.
Yeah,
positive vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So positive vibes, from hopefully, from situations like these, people have to learn fast and act fast to reverse it. How do we make sure that this doesn't happen again? And there's many of this, how do we even using technology to allow peaceful protest to happen, because they need to happen, but how do we protect government employees and buildings from being interrupted like they were yesterday? And I'm going to use that to segue into another thing that wasn't too good, just so that we can stop talking about this stuff, but it's the solar wind breach, right? And every day folks are finding out, what happened to who, from which company, and using the term of a negative event, forcing people's hands to do things that maybe they should have done years ago. There's a lot of shops looking at all physical hardware and going like, you know what? It's time to upgrade, because it's going to be more efficient for us to dump and forklift and rebuild than have to do an assessment of existing infrastructure. That's obviously not going to happen in every single scenario, but it's no different than COVID has accelerated digital transformation. This last breach has accelerated a lot of hygiene that hadn't happened in large enterprises. So that was my segue out of what we said we were not going to talk about.
I thought
So
you
back
guys
to the smart
talk
people.
about trust, and we end up going there. Well, here I think there's something very cautionary for the industry that's happening. I mean, it's almost like a convergence of things that could possibly get businesses to think twice about IoT and other technologies, simply because hygiene is tough. No one likes to do it. No one likes to pick up the risk. And so, one of the things I harp on about all the time is this whole, agile MVP type, mass production of crap stuff. Well, we're kind of a victim of this almost every single day from a lot of companies that really don't put the sec in DevSecOps. And, let's face it, security is always at the bottom of the list. And so I think one of the things that IoT companies need to consider is that their end market customers are really going to want security and assurances that by going with, let's say, an IP-based network, or, going with other alternative technologies and network technologies that may not have as much of a network security exposure to risks, that
maybe
those are
people
going to be key considerations to put in front of these clients, because you know what, I think people are going to get scared with a lot of the stuff that's happening. And
Well,
I know that we want to keep this thing positive, but
well, I mean,
just riffing off of what said.
but you take this and you say there is a positive in any craziness that we come across, in any tragedy that we come across, in any horrific incident that we come across. We as business leaders, as executives, as people, as community, we have to find solutions. We have to pivot. We have to react and respond. And so the positive in this is that we got a lot of learning that we should be taking away from this, and we should be preparing for some things in a different way, right? We're all shifting, and I don't even like that term new normal. And I've said this over and over and over because I can't stand it. And I don't even like the word now normal, but we are shifting, and we're this complete disruption in the way we do things. And it's not a bad thing. Disruption doesn't have to be negative. We're learning from this. I think there's a lot of businesses that are learning and they're trying new things. And as people go back into the office, or I think video becomes even more important, not just from a communications perspective, because we're all relying on it. We're relying on it right now, but video for things like security and surveillance, or identification of criminal activity, or even sensor networks that are detecting, chemicals or something in the air. I mean, there are some big opportunities for us to look at massive problems that have happened over 2020, and what can we use technology-wise to mitigate, plan, and prepare, and respond, because some things you just can't even predict, and you just got to do something after it happens. Security is definitely not the case. We got to do our best, but one thing SolarWinds and a lot of others that have been really kind of jumping on board and protecting them have been saying is, bottom line is, you can protect, secure all day. You will still have risk. And so you have to plan for when it does happen. What do we do next? Do we even know within 24 hours that something has been hacked or compromised? So I think those are the positive things I would say that we should be absorbing, learning, and pivoting and making that shift in our business operations. So some businesses will take off and do the right thing, and some will repeat history, right?
Yeah.
So I guess
positive.
In some ways more than others, 2021's got to be about rebuilding. Yeah. And obviously you hear that term in the political sphere, but I guess it's going to have to happen in our electronic and digital sphere as well. You're right, the SolarWinds thing, all this stuff we thought IT was going to do for us, you're not supposed to be reacting anymore. We're supposed to know in advance. And clearly that's just not happening. And so everyone's going to have to do a better job. Gosh, it's going to be interesting as they peel back the onion on the SolarWinds deal, of how much damage has been done and how much is yet to be done. There's folks that have been poking around, looking at Microsoft source code, looking at every government agency in the US. Right. It's crazy.
Very scary.
Yeah. I guess what they always talk about, defense in depth, right? With security, it's like, it has to be multiple layers. Multiple moats around your castle. Maybe with
crocodiles.
With crocodiles.
Yeah, you need to eliminate that threat just quick.
Yes, TCP/IP is the drawbridge that's letting everyone across. Maybe we should go back to NetBUI, IPXSPX from Novell. I don't know, something. Now that sounds like security through obscurity, doesn't it? But it's not routable. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Hey, we can go back to Novell group-wise. Oh, you can. So much fun. But also it's tough when some nation states and some very formidable adversaries are or could be behind these things, because then the distractions, like the recent distraction, it helps the adversaries. So again, from a national, if we make it about national security, and everyone should go like, hey, national security is pretty important. We need to understand that some of these events help the adversaries, because you've got a lot of people that are distracted with things that are happening in the moment, And that's no different than leaving open ports. You know, it's a way in. And I wish that, again, it would be hard pressed to find someone who says that national security is not important. So, you know, we civilians, we need to do our best because, you know, we're already having cyber threat issues. And, you know, I don't know, we might not find, you know, maybe nothing happened in that realm yesterday in the grand scheme of things, right? Or we'll find out 7 months from now, well, guess what? While you guys were doing this,
somebody else was doing that.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody opened up all the ports yesterday at the Capitol building.
Well, that was my fear yesterday as I'm watching it. Instead of being in the moment and watching everything and going, I mean, of course I was like, oh my God, I was horrified. But at the same time, I took a step back and I'm like, our enemy countries are like, yes. And then they're like, and I'm like, they could be in the middle of planning something right now because they're like, the U.S. is completely distracted right now. From a national security perspective, we are distracted. And so I'm like, I hate that, but I'm like, the evil minds out there are like, this is time. Yeah. So we have to be careful. And I'm hoping that our leaders in office are taking a step back and going, okay, we've got all these things that we got to take care of right now, but whoa, this is a national security threat as well.
It was a 1-2 punch. Obviously, our electronic security is shit, and we proved to the world that our physical security is shit as well.
I mean, really? You're going to put up these little silver barriers that go to your waistline and think that that's going to hold a crowd back? And
yeah, but you're right. So adversaries are probably licking their chops and going, wow, this is a great time. Yeah.
So, Mark.
And you know what? Someone mentioned this yesterday. I'm sorry, Mark. But they were like, the theme of where we are for 2021, and you said rebuild, and the other word I've come across a lot is adaptability. Is we are adapting to some crazy things that are happening. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm sure that now digitalization will pop up on artificial intelligence and machine learning, on computer vision algorithms will run on full steam to detect all the faces that yesterday were inside the Capitolio and help the policemen.
Well, they have in the NCIC database, the National Criminal Database, they have, like, I know Verizon, I think I've talked about this before, they have worked with Super Bowl games with that same thing where they scan crowds.
Okay.
And it runs against the database, and it'll automatically tell you if someone has a warrant out or they're on the list, they're on the terrorist list. So I guarantee you those faces are already being run like crazy, and they'll figure out, were they bad actors? Were they everyday citizens? What were they? Because I guarantee you there was some sprinkled craziness in there that were trying to take advantage of the situation as well.
Well, I here, I'll say something somewhat scandalous. I think so. It is known that coming to the various ports of entry to the U.S., it is known that you will be on camera, and it's almost logical, and we accept that it's okay. It's a port of entry. Yes, use facial recognition, whatever you've got to do, but there's going to be a very, very big leap from taking that application at a port of entry and putting it in the public area. And since Leonard wanted to talk about trust, that is going to be a huge issue, because I think most people understand what it could do, and the great applications like, hey, you've got a situation where there's an undesirable, whatever that may mean, right? And for the authorities to be notified to remove before something bad happens, we would all go like, yes, that makes sense. But we here in the US, we like to hold on to data for long time, even though there's no reason. I still go to sites that are from businesses in the US, but because I'm in Europe, I get a link that says, no, we don't care about GDPR. So come back to our site when you're back in the US. So this the reality of facial recognition with ML, whatever automation at scale in public places in the US, it's either going to take a big cultural shift where institutions are trusted, or we're going full on Fahrenheit 911 or 1984.
451.
Sorry, 451. I'm like mixing my my emergency number. So anyway, that's going to be a tough one in the trust category.
So I'm listening to you guys, and it's freaking me out. I think if we think this is normal and it's not anything different than what China does, just listen back. If we think this is okay, then guess what? We've lost the moral ground like we've lost the moral ground yesterday. Since we're talking about what happened yesterday anyways. I mean, you know what? I think we have this identity crisis, and, the business community, whether it's for security, it's for consumer privacy, it's for a number of other things, we have a crisis of identity and principle. We love all the stuff that these marketing platforms, the advertising platforms provide us in terms of surveilling consumers. These aren't customer relationships. This is straight up surveillance. We love that. But then, so I don't know. Maybe one of the things that's happening and we need to be very cautious about is this shift in principle away from things that we prided ourselves on as Americans and as sort of this shining city on the hill. That is an example for all other nations, that are aspiring to be like the United States, quite frankly. But I don't know. I think we're starting to accept things that maybe we need to question whether or not it has impact on how we're perceived in the world. Because, honestly, I think a lot of this stuff is just we're becoming disconnected from what we're losing touch on what we're becoming. And so we need to be very cautious, is what I don't know. That's all I got to say about that. That's my force.
No, I agree. I mean, this can be 9th, so 11th of September also, happened something completely different. But yeah, some of the freedom that we had as citizens, were reduced because of the security. And I'm sure, some of the freedom that we have as citizens will be reduced because of this, or at least in the US, not worldwide. But I wanted to change topics. Something that I made, if that's okay, during Christmas. So a couple of things. So one on facial recognition, the topic that I mentioned 5 minutes ago. So I play on not facial recognition, on bird detection. So I'm working with a developer from the community to create a nest to detect what type of bird it's on the nest, depending on machine learning and artificial intelligence. So it's getting there. So this technology is getting easy enough that anyone can detect what type of birds you have on your porch or on your balcony or whatever. And on the other hand, something that actually impressed me a lot, and I didn't know, it's during the Christmas, is this Mark Rober video about the glitter bomb. I don't know if you, but that was like a big video that I think it was launched like a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, probably. So Marc Rober is an engineer from MIT, I guess, and he made a glitter bomb for people who was stealing the packages on his porch. I don't know if you have seen the video.
Yeah, that was cool.
But that's so the engineering inside this project, it's incredible. So I invite anyone to visit this video of the glitter bomb 3.0, the version 3.0 on YouTube. First, subscribe to IoT Coffee Talk podcast, but go there and have fun, because that's pretty fun, and that gives you a vision. And actually, it's interesting because he makes a video of 20 minutes long explaining how he built the glitter bomb, just to announce a Patreon of himself. So you have to pay like hundreds of dollars to be part of a course that he's teaching. So, but you have to get into the last minute of the video to see that this complete video is an advertising of his Patreon. That's
Yes,
really
speaking of
interesting.
advertising, direct to consumer works because I am going to buy. I need to put in an NEMA enclosure because it needs to be outside. But I'm going to buy this bird detecting camera because my kids ask me, and I'm like, bird, little bird, big bird, blue bird, red bird,
Yeah.
another
Yellow,
bird,
orange.
chicken.
Now, my
So-
husband, the wildlife biologist, we're always asking him. He knows everyone. He's just like, oh, that's a so and so. That's a. So. I'm like, he keeps that in that data bank.
Yeah.
Actually detects the bird by tweeting or by image, the project, and it's open source. I will.
That's really
Oh, cool.
We can do an episode about that if you want.
Steph's
And-
gonna do like a mule deer detection camera.
Y'all, I did get me a mule deer over the holidays. Yes, I did.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
And we're having it processed for meat right now. So it's going to be some
How
good.
many pounds?
Oh, I thought you.
Like 130, 40 pounds. It was an older one, but he was a smaller bodied mule deer. They call him a cull buck, meaning he's got the lower genetics. He needs to get out. So he doesn't need to be breeding the females.
Thank you, Gattaca.
But my son got one and I got one. So we're going to have a good freezer load of meat for 2021.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have one for a pet and have him run
What?
around the back.
You
No,
can't
Leonard.
pet a mule deer.
Oh, really? Okay, I don't know.
You barely can get close to them. They're really wild in West Texas. Like
Oh,
they're
really?
yeah. It was a 6-hour hunt for me.
Oh.
So in the mountains. So it was
The next thing you know, she's gonna be out with Joe Rogan hunting elk with a bow and arrow.
I wouldn't mind that.
That'd be fun. Absolutely. Now that Rogan's in your neck of the woods, actually. you know,
Yeah, he is. He did come to Texas. Everybody
Yeah,
is.
you might have to, now that he's out in the hill country with you, he'd probably go on a hunt with you for sure.
Yes, and we got snow, which we never get to see in Texas. So we arrived, and that night we got 12 inches of snow. So it was the most fun experience ever.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing.
Wow, nice.
I digress, but it was fun.
I love how you react to that. In San Diego, we freak out if we get snow.
Well, I wasn't happy to be driving in it, but it was like the last 30 minutes of my drive was sketchy.
Uh-huh.
But when I got there, I was like, oh, but so the next 4 days, it slowly was melting. So I didn't have to worry about, I had a few rough spots coming home, and they had actually closed down I-10 and I-20, which is a big thing for Texas because they had hundreds of cars in gridlock just with nowhere to go, no hotels, no motels, no cell coverage. They had chaos going on in Texas.
Whatever happened to a predictive weather model and get some snow plows?
The funny thing is the ranch owner that was there. They were arguing with my husband. Oh no, we're not going to get snow. No way.
Yeah.
We got snow. So they don't believe it when they say it's coming.
Hey,
Because
you
it's
know what?
very rare.
Just
Frost,
as soon as
no
those
frost.
meteorologists get their act together, I'll start believing in this AI nonsense.
What they have to do is they have to start a COGS program like they did in a Minority Report. That's what you.
Yeah, we do need
pre-COGS.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to pre-crime. Absolutely.
Pre-weather.
So would a freak out snowstorm in San Diego, is that like when someone's ice machine breaks down and just starts shooting ice out and people are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Somebody had a COVID party and rented one of those snow machines.
Everybody's running to Tijuana to get away from the snow.
Yeah, like in that
Seriously.
movie. What is it called?
Has that happened, Leonard? That you guys got a dusting down in San Diego? Snow?
No, we had it's been really cold for the last
Sleet?
few years. Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
but what's cold for you? Like 54?
38 degrees.
No, 38?
Oh yeah.
38 in San Diego?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I need to disconnect. It was good. Well, I hope that 2021 will improve.
Will be what? I'm sorry.
No, I hope that 2021 will improve. At least on your hats collection.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
Yes.
You know why I'm wearing this is because
The
my
dunce hat.
hair looks like that when I
Oh my
don't
God.
wear it.
It's shaped like the hat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep the hat
That's
on.
probably the reason why. I know you
Okay.
guys love the hat.
Whew.
So I need to disconnect. Apologizes, but yeah, see you next week.
Adios.
Bye, Mark.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Uh,
Well, there's that. So
Wow.
positive vibes.
We're rambling, aren't we?
But it's fun.
We're fun. It's struggling,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
So is anybody going to attend the virtual CES? I know I'm going to because I have a couple customers, but are you guys doing anything with it?
What does that mean?
yeah.
I don't really know. I don't really know what to expect
CES is all about the exhibition halls. You know what I mean?
other than it looking like this, right?
Yeah.
And I've actually been to a couple of events earlier in 2020 that had like the virtual, and it was a disaster. Like I don't even it.
Yeah.
And you know what's cool about CES is the face-to-face meetings. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been getting random. They're like communications alerts or notification alerts for people that are reaching out, like they're trying to network.
Oh yeah.
And I'm on the press list, so it's not good. I mean, like they don't apply to me.
Which virtual hotel are you staying at this next week in Vegas?
The Trump Hotel. Have you heard?
I hear there's a lot of extra space there this time.
It's very, very, very inexpensive.
Yeah. I've got friends who want me to come out and meet them in Vegas, like the weekend after next or something like that. I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Well, you know what? What happens after CES is because my friend and I have been passing through the night for years. As soon as I'm flying out, she's flying in because there's a huge promotional marketing, one of the largest promotional marketing events at CES. I mean, right after CES. And so I'm like, hers is virtual too. I'm like, this is insane. Well, what are you going to do?
So
your sales are going down.
Back to your comment that we don't accept the new normal. This is all bullshit. We need to be back in person. We need to be at events. This is not working at all.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's just not.
Yeah.
No.
And I can hardly wait to get back to a real event. I love traveling. I love seeing all my friends and everything and networking. And this is a horrible substitute for sure.
Yeah. It's just, I think all of us are struggling. At first we were putting up with it. And then we got to a phase where we were like, I'm missing this. And now we're at the phase where like, this is bullshit. I need some face-to-face interaction with my customers, my friends, my colleagues. It's not, we're waiting on that.
I know we're obviously talking about it from the business perspective, but I hope to see like quickly some consumerized IoT thingy to make better experiences for this, what we're doing, this virtual conversation, in addition to Zoom and everything else. Because, so again, look, Rob, you mentioned something very specific. I miss traveling, trade shows. Stephanie, I miss my friends. Leonard and I and Mark, everyone would say the same thing. But, we have humans that don't travel for work who have a very heavy burden of isolation. Mm-hmm. And, and for whatever, and again, for many variables, they cannot go somewhere. People cannot come to them. They don't have a ton of friends, a ton of families. And look, we're humans. Most humans want companionship. And, but, if you're older and you're at risk, you're not going to take that risk. And I just haven't seen anything, recent that has come out to address this and maybe, make the experience better with additional context or metadata or haptics no, it's just this and this, to your point, guys, is just not cutting it. And, and I wish there was, because, mental health is, being isolated does not help our mental health. So, thoughts with, anyone who's going through a situation like that nowadays.
The best way to deal with situations like this is to avoid situations like this. And I think it's too late to be proactive. Hopefully 2021 from an IoT perspective, because we've gone on a lot of tangents, apologies to our audience, but we had fun discussing all this stuff that we did talk about. But we really need to think about how, number one, how can we be more proactive, and is there a way to not make the mistakes of the past, because we made big mistakes. We repeated history. In fact, maybe arguably did a worse job than what we did back in 1917. But this is a great opportunity for us to think through how do we actually use these technologies and apply them in substantial ways rather than reactive ways, and be more proactive. And maybe that's what we're trying to say in this conversation, other than all the security stuff that we discussed, is that we need to really look at these digital technologies as tools for building our capabilities for tomorrow, not being something that's mysterious that we steer away from. And I think the IoT community needs to be cognizant of some of the pushback that they might get. We have a lot of people saying, oh yeah, this crisis has driven digital tech transformation. And I kind of go, sort of, kind of. The stock prices of companies have gone up a lot, but that doesn't mean that digital transformation is happening on a scale or at a rate that is mind-boggling. Quite honestly, I think we're just using technology that we already had a subscription for before the pandemic.
Well, you know what, too, from a positive note, I think from a reflection, we can probably all of us say on this panel that what has happened has made us value human to human relationships and interaction even more. So the whole fear of robotics and technology taking over, this will show you that the human is not going away. The interactions and those experiences are extremely important.
Yep.
We have taken them for granted, and we are now realizing more than ever that our community of interest, our people, our colleagues, our friends, our family are extremely important. And doing these things virtually or through video has made us realize that still you don't get that same experience. And so the experiences we're going through right now, that's huge. That's a great learning for us. We should all be appreciating. And when we do get back to seeing people face to face, I'm going to be hugging all of y'all. So yeah. Get ready.
Sounds good. And I'll wear the hat. I'm gonna wear this hat until then.
So when I see you, your head's gonna be like conical.
The cone heads. We're from France.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Who wants to take us out?
David does, yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I also do it, on a positive note that's very IoT centric. So there are because of the pandemic, there have been many verticals, namely manufacturing, that they've taken advantage of having less people at their sites to accelerate some of their transformational projects, to finally lift off some of the industrial IoT use cases that they've been talking about. So we're seeing, and I think this is one of the predictions that I shared, with you guys for 2021. But the uptick on private wireless infrastructure is happening, and again, because of something negative. I have less people on site, and I have less patience to wait for traditional networking to arrive. So, for the IoT, especially the industrial IoT community, this is good news, because it means you have secure, someone will argue, but secure infrastructure that's private to that site. So with that, and apologies to Ray Bradbury's state, because I said 911 instead of 451, and he's rolling his grave. Sorry. And to our audience, this wasn't like every other IoT Coffee Talk that we've done last year. But let's be honest, we were all shocked about what happened yesterday. So we're human too. But if needed, our apologies. Next week, we're going to be on some, super duper better mood and talk about the community and everything that's going on IoT. So don't forget to like us, share us, IoTCoffeeTalk.com, and stay safe, stay sane, and please, please, please respect, please.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Is that how you do it? Okay. See you guys. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Okay, so